We're going to talk through the Valero Open. We're going to be talking about some much better players and some much bigger tournaments next week. But this is what we've got for now, and the Valero Open. And Sheets loves these little ones. I mean, look, you won the secondary tournament, the secondary whatever scheduled PGA thing last week. So I would default to Sheets's advice over mine. But we are going to do our normal thing and select a group of players and go down the list. So with that said, I know Sheets is on a little bit of a time crunch. Why don't we pull up your thing, and we'll start going by tiers. Is there any?
I'm not too time crunched to I'm not too time crunched to avoid making the announcements about today. Today is Wednesday, so we're going to be doing a live sweat at 11 p.m. where we go over the big NBA contest tonight. Where they're paying $1 million for first. You could argue it's the last real slate of the year. I don't know. It's hard to say.
It's certainly the biggest NBA tournament they've had this year.
And it's kind of odd to put it in. Not odd, but it's a little annoying to put it in where someone's getting $1 million for figuring out whether to play Keon Johnson or not, or something like that.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, we're going to do whatever else is going on DFS wise tonight, including. I'm going to be finalizing my PGA builds as well. So we have that coming up tonight, and ready to get into it. This slate is we see some of these quite a bit where you have one or two kind of name guys that are just near the top, and then you have, again, it's kind of like a linear pricing model the way DraftKings works. So they have to put guys at 9,900, 9,700, 9,500, that may not be that much better than guys at 7,600, for example. So it's always interesting to see how the pricing kind of comes up in these kind of lower level events. I guess we should just get started. So in the 10K range, you only have 4 guys in this range. I like 2 of them, and I think you're gonna might like the other 2. So I don't know. So I do like Hatton and Connors of the 4. Hatton, I've had my struggles with the last couple of weeks, but it's only because he hasn't been making any putts. I mean, like he's been shooting freaking BBs at the freaking pin, especially in the match play thing. I had him in the match play thing. It was a little annoying because I had 70% JJ Spawn, who was smashing at 6,800. But I also 70% Hatton, and in his like I think first or second round match, he had like 5 different holes where he like put it to like 6 feet and needed like a 6-footer to close the guy out in the hole. And the guy who was up against kept making these 30-footers, and he was missing these 6-footers. And you know what? That's the thing about putting. Putting is just a lot of variance and a lot of luck involved. So I do feel as though that Hatton does sort of lay over the field here a little bit. So I do actually like him even at 10-9. And the other guy who's been playing better is at least the way I'm looking at it, is Connors. So I do like both those. Hideki, again, like we've talked about him a lot of times. I just never get him. He's not really a model guy. And as a result, he usually ends up like a little bit lower owned, or sometimes a lot lower owned than he should be, So you could talk about him. And Fowler, I'm just not quite getting to. Where are you with these 10K guys?
So I actually do. You kind of got a little bit right. First of all, I like Hatton. I like the top 3. The reason I just like Matsuyama, like just the most underdrafted guy in the history of DFS golf. I remember when he won the Masters, and he was like the 25th price golfer, and he was like 0.25% owned or whatever it was. Just nobody plays him, and in this event, you'd think that maybe some more people would flock to him. I'm seeing very low ownership on him as well. So I think that Fowler is the one Hatton's the one I feel most comfortable with. Fowler is the one I think has a really good chance to win this tournament, and I actually think it's a really reasonable bet. But I think that Matsuyama is my 3rd favorite. Connors has looked better for what it's worth. I just haven't. I would personally rather play the other guys a little bit more than Connors is where I'm at. All right, in the 9K range, everybody looks pretty good, Sheets. Everybody looks like solid. It's totally viable if you wanted to skip past the 10K range, I think, this week. But I do think, like you said, Hatton does sort of stand out a little bit above the field. So who are you looking at in the 9K range?
The 6 9K guys, I want to highlight 3 of them and talk about them. I want to highlight Kim, Kirk, and Kuchar. Excuse me. And I also want to talk about Fox for a second. I didn't get to Riley and Montgomery for no other reason than they're just not showing up for me as projecting as well as these others from on a value basis. But the guys I want to talk about are these other ones. So Siwoo Kim, he's my favorite of these. He looks really strong, and I like Chris Kirk as well. The guy who I'm struggling with is is Kuchar, because he's a guy that you have this impression of him being like old. Maybe because he has white hair or something like that, but he's not that old. He's like 40, right. He's like 43. You know what I mean? So he happens to be playing much better, and I have to kind of put that bias behind me for this thing. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to end up playing him, and then the Ryan Fox, who I never seem to get to. It doesn't seem like a guy that should be 9K, but he's showing up as kind of a decent play. So I would highlight those four, and just listen. You can't play everybody. So for me, the other two, Montgomery and Rye, are just going to kind of drop off. But I do like the other four.
Yeah. So I'm kind of in semi. Okay, so I have Chris Kirk as my favorite play in this range, along with Kim. They're right tied, so I'm very, very, very comfortable with both those guys. Davis Riley is my third favorite. And then I was actually glad you said a little bit about Fox and Kuchar, because I struggle with the Kuchar thing, and I think that the impression thing is maybe a little bit. I want to correct these flaws in my game, and I do think that happens with guys like Kuchar, that they're. For me, I sort of overlook them, and I sort of like want the young guys, but like, why do I even it's golf. It's not like I'm playing guys in the NBA or something like that. Like, I just feel like it's a little bit of a glitch, in my opinion. Somewhat what happens with Hideki and some of the Asian golfers from time to time. Although people have sort of caught on to that and been playing them because they're really good. But I do think that I should be open to Kuchar. I'm not sure where I stand on Fox and Montgomery. I do like Montgomery. I just like the other guys a little bit better. And I think Fox is fine, but if he was going to get like no ownership, I would have a little interest. But I think I'm probably okay to pass on him, because I do think that Siwoo, Kirk, and if you can get one of those guys with Hatton, I think you're off to a nice start of a pretty solid build, that you have two guys who should be able to at least be semi-contenders in this type of tournament. But I think we'll get to it at the game. But I think I might be taking one of those guys for the win. Down in the 8K range, we've got Davis Thompson is out now. I've got like a few. I am going to be all over Ben Griffin every time there's a tournament, especially when the field is a little bit weaker. I believe in the kid's upside. I think he's going to be a superstar. But I don't have a really strong conviction, except for to say that. Boy, if this was like, however many months ago, we'd be playing Alex Noren on this kind of field as a 10K plus guy. He just has had some rough goes of it. So Ben Griffin and JJ Spawn are my two priorities, and I'm open to Cameron Davis. Who do you like in this range?
So it's so funny to talk about our biases. So what's interesting, and you probably didn't realize this, so because you talked about the other slate from last week, you didn't even know who played. The guy who got first and second in that tournament is in the 8K range. So we have Wallace got first, Højgaard got second, and Dietrich was I think he ended up T5 or something like that. So everybody from that tournament is kind of here. And then you have the JJ Spawn, who is basically the hero.
Does that mean, based on golf rules, doesn't that mean we have to X those guys out?
I was making an observation.
No, I know.
Because you weren't focused on that slate. You didn't even think about it.
I actually did know who won. I looked at the winner.
So Spawn again. He was my hero from last week. So I'll probably end up fading him. But he looks pretty good. The guys that I like are the two that you mentioned, actually. Two of the guys you mentioned. I like Ben Griffin a lot, and the other guy. Just in a field like this, I can't resist playing Cam Davis in a spot like this. So Cam, I really don't think Cam Davis. I don't know if he can hang up at the in the Masters or whatever it is, but I think he can win a tournament like this. So I like Cam Davis, and I like Ben Griffin as my two favorite of the 8K range.
Yeah, but just for what it's worth, I have the other guys, the Højgaard, Wallace, and Dietrich. Well, I think all are fine. I actually have Dietrich as the best one for this particular tournament. Partly that's a little bit due to ownership, but not entirely. All right, cool. Let's go to the 7,500 to 8K or 7,500 to 7,900 range.
So the model darling for this week by a pretty decent amount is actually Nick Taylor at 7,600. He's going to end up being, I think, pretty popular as a result of it. He's just kind of showing up, and it's so funny. One of the things that I do is I analyze like all the different models or whatever, and it's not even any type of variance. Like everybody's on this guy. You know what I mean? Like something about his stats are really just like no matter which algorithm you use, just jam him. So I'm not going to kind of fight that as an idea, you know. But I think he's like this is the type of play that's going to end up like, boy, that guy's 32% owned in the 555. Who the hell is that? And I think that's what's going to happen. Another guy who's kind of like tough to play sometimes, but you're kind of happy when you do. Is Brendan Todd? So I like him at 7,900. And then I actually do like this range a bit, so I'm going to probably put up a couple of guys. So Putnam at 7,800, and also Smalley at 76. I like all those guys.
Yeah, I agree with Nick the Nick Taylor thing the most, but I don't think it's like it's hard to say bad chalk and good chalk in golf. I really have to say like, but I do think Nick Taylor, like, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that just believe that he's a much better golfer than maybe the results would indicate.
Right.
And I guess I was listening to one podcast where they were talking about in Canada they think he's actually just as good or better than Corey Connors. He just hasn't hit his stride. And this is just one podcast I was listening to. So just throwing out a little bit of information that I have on that. Todd Putnam's. I think Smalley is the one I like the best out of that group. But I'm okay with the Putnam. Just to stay true to the brand, I'm always going to have a little bit of the General, who, by the way, has been pretty good for me at like 0.25% ownership every time.
He sure was.
He's up there in the top 10, or whatever he was. I also think that SH Kim is just as a low owned option. I was considering, but I think I might scrap that. And I think Aaron Rye is another guy who's 7,900 who I could see actually really contending to win this tournament. So Rye, Taylor are my favorites. Kazire is my constant play, and then Putnam and Smalley are the next two for me.
So it's 7,400 and below, and there's a bunch. There's like 15, 20 guys. But the good thing, I only have like 6 that I like, which is good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So my 6 are Ryan Palmer, Tyler Duncan, who was third last week, by the way, in the Corrales thing. Will Gordon, Ben Martin, Ben Yan, and Patrick Rogers. So those are the guys. The guy that just missed the cut for me would be Eric with a C Cole, but I'll stick with those other 6.
Yeah, I'm good with. So going down, I have both. I have on, and I'm open to Straka too. I don't think that I think that the price is kind of interesting, like that he's so low still. Like it's sort of like this. We get this price with him at the major at the when everybody's playing. I'm kind of okay with paying this price for him against this field. Who else did I have on here? I had on, and I had Palmer as priorities. So those you name those. So I guess I'm definitely going to have to play at least some of them. I'm open to this. Will Gordon is 7,200. Another one who we're getting the same. Will Gordon, Luke List, and Joseph Bramlett are all guys who we pay a similar price for, even at the big events.
Yep.
So I think that and Eric Van Rooyen's been playing well as well. You mentioned Tyler Duncan. Those guys are all kind of interesting to me. I think I actually prefer this range maybe a little bit above the upper 7,500s, even though I like the whole 7Ks pretty much. And you didn't even mention your boy Eckroat. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, there it is.
Bramlett, List, Palmer, On, and Straka, I guess, are my favorites, and Tyler Duncan. But I'm gonna have to figure out which one of these guys. Oh, and Will Gordon. I like a lot of these guys. I just feel like what stood out to me was that these are the guys whose prices don't really change, and I just think that's kind of interesting. I'm gonna do a little more digging, and I'll have some more information about when we go live tonight. Just about I have some course fit stuff that I've done, and I haven't really gone through it in depth.
I'll throw out a couple more names just to give you guys something to think about. So So Sam Stevens, he was kind of one of my heroes from last week. Also, I think he got second or third. He got third, I think, last week. But listen, I don't play this guy normally for absolutely no reason. But in this field, Kevin Streelman at 7K seems a little egregious.
Oh my God, that actually is a little bit. I didn't even notice that at first.
You know, like I could play him at 7,600 in the Masters. You know what I mean? Like, and 7K in a field like this, if I didn't have my stupid reasons not playing, I think that 7K is very. I think that's a really, really strong price for him.
I like that actually. I like that call quite a bit actually. So I'm definitely.
And he's been doing better. I mean, he's been really playing well.
Yeah, he's had some really good rounds and some really down ones. But yes, he has been better. The only other one I wanted to mention is just, again, I don't want to overload you guys with too many plays in general, but this is the first look thing. This is what we do. So it's like, I will have some Dylan Wu. I think the plan is to have 2 or 3 guys in the 7K range in most of my lineups.
Yeah.
All right, down in the 6Ks, there's actually some guys here, but nobody who I'm like overly excited. Ben Taylor, Mark Hubbard, Dylan Fratelli at 6,800 for this kind of a tournament. Doug Gim, Cam Champ, Troy Merritt, who just cannot seem to make a cut ever. Caleb Tarum. There's guys. I don't know which ones I want to go with, but those are some guys who I'm considering.
Yeah. By the way, I answered my question. By the way, Kevin Tway is not whatever the same Tway that's like 80 years old. Kevin Tway, I ended up playing last week. Kevin Tway is like 2 years old. He's actually a young guy. He was kind of struggled the last 2 rounds yesterday. I kind of needed him, but I mean, I can't complain. I ended up winning that single entry. But Kevin Tway was the guy that I was playing. I was listening. I knew it all. I was following all these guys last week. The guys that I have are 2 of them you mentioned. I think actually the top one I guess I have is Mark Hubbard, and then you may have mentioned Ben Taylor. If not, I'll throw him in. Dylan Fratelli, if you didn't mention him, I'll throw him in. And I'll give you one more. Guy I always seem to come up with is Peter Malnati at 6,600. So, as usual, it's the same thing. I don't think I'm going to need these guys, but you're probably going to have to play them.
Right. It's like one of those things like where they just seem to always appear on there. Okay, well, let's play the game. Let's go through it. Let's find the favorites here. Who do you got to win it? I'm going to guess you're going to go with the chalk, right?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Hatton.
All right, you're going with Hatton. As much as I like Ricky Fowler, and I'm going to give a little note on my board to make sure to play him some. I'm going to say Siwoo Kim.
Oh, nice. Like that.
All right. Under 10K sheets, top 5.
Got a feeling about this other dude in the 8K range, but I'll be safe. I'll wait to play him to finish top 10. I'll go. Boy, oh boy, I'm really feeling it though. Yeah, I'm gonna gamble. I'm gonna go Cam Davis.
Oh wow, okay. So we got that's gonna make a special priority.
I might actually bet him to win on the sports book. I want to see what his odds are. I might actually do that.
You should consider Ben Griffin as well, because I was I almost named him for this range, but I'll use him for my next one. I'll take Chris Kirk.
That's who I was going to pick. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
And
all right, so someone else. Well, anybody under 8,900 or anybody under 9K to finish top 10.
For me, it's Ben Griffin.
And for me, it will be it's going to be. Boy, it's so hard to play him off of that. So I'm not even going to mention his name. So we will go. Boy, this is tough now. Griffin is the correct answer, but I will go with another guy that you kind of mentioned in this range a little bit, and that would be Alex Morin.
All right.
Like you said, he's had a couple of struggles, but he's been a chalk a couple of times, and then he had a withdrawal or something like that. You know, maybe.
Yep. All right, under 8K, top 20 sheets. Who you got?
Yeah, a lot of guys.
There's a lot.
A lot of guys. Top 20. I guess I'll have to go with. I don't have to go with the chalk. So yeah, well, let's take a little bit of an ownership break. It's not gonna be that big of a break though. I'm gonna go. Maybe I want to snatch this guy from you because you mentioned him. I'm gonna go with Smalley.
Yeah, I like that. That's he was in my first build, so can't hate on that. I'll take Taylor, who was also in my first build. I know that's the chalk answer, but that's what I'm doing. So,
well, now if there's anybody 5,700, I could finish this lineup here, but unfortunately, there isn't. All right, so who's going to make the cut under? Who do you think can make the cut under 7K?
I actually forgot to mention the guy who I was considering taking. This is a little tricky though, but just to make the cut, yikes. There's a lot of names here, but I mean, it would feel idiotic to play, let's say, like Troy Merritt, who's missed like a million cuts in a row. I guess most likely to make the cut, although I really don't necessarily want to play him. It's either Smotherman or Taylor or Pearson Coody. Oh man, I just feel kind of gross about these guys. But I'll say Dylan Fratelli.
And I will go Mark Hubbard. Now, how about guy over 9K to miss the cut? I think there's a couple. I mean, I think nobody's guaranteed up here.
Yeah, I agree. You know who I want to just make a note to get a little notes on? I do really want to play. I do really like Ryan Palmer, and I just wanted to make sure to re-emphasize that Ryan Palmer will be one of my.
I like that a lot, actually.
So you said Hubbard. What was the 9K guys?
To miss the cut.
So yeah, for me, I'm going to say Ryan Fox. I know that's probably the chalky answer for this part of the game, but that's what I'm going to go with.
And I will go Taylor Montgomery.
Ooh, okay. Nice.
Only for lack of anything else. I mean, I think both the guys you mentioned will probably make the cut, but I will. But that's going to be my pick is Taylor Montgomery.
Right. All right. Sounds good. All right. So we will be like she said, live at 11 Eastern for the Sweat Show. And we will be. I'll have my basketball stuff up a little later. I'm waiting till morning shoot-arounds or something to happen because
God bless you.
It's just getting kind of ridiculous, guys. Like we know it's the time of the NBA year. It's a huge tournament.
Well, I will say this, Bobby. Like I have to go because I have a lunch at like 1.
Yeah.
But wait. But I'll be back at like maybe 2:30 or so. Like if you wanted to do if I'm back and you're ready, you want to do a preview like 2:30 or 3, we could do it. I mean, that's past morning shoot around at least.
Yeah.
Maybe we got something at least.
Okay. Yeah. Let's stay in touch. That would be good.
All right. I'll stay in touch with you.
All right. Good luck, everybody.